Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back. My name's Semi-Colin, and today we've got a jewel crafting review slash setup. So if you're, familiar with the channel, then back in Dragonflight, I was making a bunch of videos in regards to all the different professions, kind of my way of approaching things. Um, but I didn't really make any content on War Within. So I know I'm kind of late to the game in terms of, early access is here. And actually, in like an hour, the game's going to be available to everybody. But I figured better late than never, and kind of talk through what my plans are going into War Within with jewel crafting in particular. So first things first, I just kind of want to make sure everybody's on the same page. So the jewel crafting trainers are right here in Dornogal. So like at the southern part of the city, right above the forge grounds wording on the map. And to be totally honest with you, from what I can tell, jewel crafting operates very similarly now compared to Dragonflight. So I'm just going to kind of run through some of the recipes in War Within Jewel Crafting that I think are going to be worthwhile. Hopefully draw some comparisons between War Within Jewel Crafting and Dragonflight to hopefully, I think drawing those comparisons helps me kind of figure out what is what within the profession. Because like looking at these reagents and all that good stuff, like, it's a lot of times especially starting out, you're like, I don't know what any of this stuff is, what it's used for, yada, yada, yada. So hopefully you'll find some benefit in this, and hopefully you'll also find some direction to potentially go, because I'm also going to talk through the spec trees that I'm going and what my hopes are for jewel crafting as the expansion progresses. So first things first, I just want to run through the different recipes that I think are going to have some bearing in the future. So first things first is inverted prism. I've actually been crafting a good amount of the inverted prism and selling it. Currently, it's almost 700 profit per craft. So the inverted prism has been a worthwhile recipe for me to craft with. And if we search the inverted prism just within the jewel crafting tree, we can see all the different recipes that jewel crafting uses with this item. So there are some profession tools. There are, these prisms basically just contains gems. One of the epic gems is going to require an inverted prism. So there's not a ton within the jewel crafting tree specifically that uses the inverted prism, but there's certainly a possibility that some other professions are using the inverted prisms as well. But again, I've been selling this pretty solidly, so there's absolutely a market and a demand for inverted prisms, and I think this is going to be similar to what like the elemental harmony was back in Dragonflight. Next up, we have the decorative lens. So first things first, the decorative lens, engraved gem cutter, and marbled stone. Those are all just the very basic crafting reagents that Dragonflight had. You're going to be able to find some profit with some of these different crafts. Right now, it's been decent for some of them. So I would definitely take a look into those. The sell rates are pretty decent as well right now. But again, decorative lens, engraved gem cutter, and marbled stone are just the reagents within the jewel crafting Dragonflight tree. And then we have gilded vial, which is obviously the vials. So there is going to be some opportunity for gold making with these down the road. Right now, it is awful because you can buy the rank 1 vials for way cheaper than you can craft it. So it's a very useless recipe to have right now. But again, I do think that there is going to be some opportunity with gilded vials later down the road. So here's just some of your basic gems, really kind of worthless gems, nothing that I think we need to spend too much time on. But the part that is important, I think, is the other types of gems. So we've got emerald, onyx, rubies, and sapphires as per usual. But the way that the gems work is a little bit different this time. So if we go to the specialization tree and we look at gem cutting specifically, the specialization tree looks pretty darn different compared to what it did in Dragonflight. In Dragonflight, you had the main talent or knowledge node here, and then you had 4 additional nodes, one for each gem type, and that was it. But obviously, now we have an additional node for each gem type, and then each gem type has an additional node for deadly, masterful, and versatile. Or, not always masterful. Sometimes it's quick, right? Because, like, the emerald, I think, is going to always have haste on it, so there's not going to be a subtype for haste. Excuse me. So you have to be a lot more, kind of particular with the route that you're wanting to go for gems, because it's going to take a lot more knowledge points now to fill out your gem tree compared to last expansion. So this node is 30, and then each subsequent is 20. So there's 20, 40, 60, 90 knowledge points just in green. So, damn, we're looking at like a 360 knowledge points. What is it? 405 knowledge points total to max out this entire tree, if my mental maths and quick maths is accurate. And that's a lot of knowledge points. So, it's important to really kind of look into this and figure out which routes you want to go. It's impossible to say, what gems are going to be most popular right now compared to, couple weeks, a month, 2 months down the road. Now you could go on Wowhead and you could look at some class guides, and those are going to probably say like what gem types to go for any given class. But I think there's a good chance that those could change, or maybe it doesn't. Who knows? But so that's one way that you could kind of research into it if you wanted to. But I think the important thing to do with gems when you're looking at this, and I would recommend using CraftSim. I made a video several months ago about CraftSim and just how to use it as a whole, all that good stuff. So definitely check that out if you are not familiar with CraftSim. But what my recommendation would be is to come into CraftSim and kind of see what it's going to take to guarantee rank 3 of these gems. We saw in Dragonflight, you didn't need to max out your entire tree in order to guarantee the rank 3 quality gem. It was those additional knowledge points would get you that final epic gem. So you might not need to, max out every single node in the green tree, the emerald tree, in order to guarantee rank 3 gems. But I mean, let's look right now and figure it out. So how we're going to start off with this is in the simulation, we're just going to simulate that we have rank 3 materials already. And the reason we're doing that is because the engraved gem cutter is definitely going to be something that is guaranteed rank 3 once crafters, including yourself, get some more knowledge points and get some additional skill within your trees. So I think it's a good basis to just start off with rank 3 materials, because that's also going to give you the highest bonus in terms of your output quality. So putting rank 3 materials, our expected quality is rank 2, and we're missing 126 skill to guarantee rank 3. So what we could do is, looking up here, we can see skill is 126 plus 68 plus 0. This skill number right here is not accounting for me only being at 63, or it is accounting for me only being at 63. But I think we should, change this and have it account and assume that we're at skill 100, because for the majority of this expansion, you're going to be at skill 100. So we can just add the additional skill in this box to make up the difference. So we're 37 skills short. So we'll pump that in. And so now it's assuming that we're at 100 skill in our Jewelcrafting tree. And now it's saying that we're missing 89 skill for the guaranteed rank 3 craft. Next, we can come down to this Craft Sim specialization info section, and we can actually just click this little green arrow right here, and it's going to simulate all of these trees being maxed out. So if we put those all at max, then it tells us our missing skill is 21. So my initial thought right off the bat is it's not going to be possible for jewel crafters to guarantee a rank 3 versatile emerald or any type of emerald, onyx, ruby, or sapphire. It's not going to be possible to guarantee rank 3 craft every single time you craft. Now, there's a couple different options. Obviously, we have concentration that you can use to guarantee that max craft. But there are some additional things that we can do to also guarantee that max craft. So looking at these optional reagents that we can use with jewel crafting, there's 2 different options for optional reagents. So the one on the left here is actually just to increase your different stats. So like using less concentration, giving you additional multi-craft, or increasing the amount of resourcefulness you have. I think there's one that impacts ingenuity. So these are going to be probably a pretty beneficial thing to have, especially like the multi-craft ones when you are doing your crafting. But you're going to need to be kind of, smart about it. Like I would only use one of these, like the multi-craft one, when you're going to guarantee craft or rank 3 gem to increase the odds of you getting multi-craft proc on that rank 3 gem. So these are some things to look into, but the more important one I wanted to point out is this right optional node here, which brings up these options, and these items actually increase your skill by a predetermined amount when you craft. So like this one increases your skill by 5, 10, 20, and then 40. So with this Artisans Consortium seal of approval right here, this would guarantee the rank 3 craft if I had this. And so that's going to be kind of the best way to guarantee those crafts once you've got all of your skills and everything like that maxed out. So this is going to be the case for emeralds, onyxes, rubies, and sapphires. So again, this just isn't specific to emeralds. Every single gem is going to operate kind of this way. Now, it is very possible. I want to kind of say this from the get-go, that it is possible that maybe my craft sim isn't working right and it should be guaranteeable, or potentially maybe I'm just missing something, did my mental math wrong in the simulation mode, and didn't get it right. But from what I can tell is we're not going to be guaranteeing the max rank gem on every single craft. But with that being said, I think gem crafting or gem cutting is still going to be unbelievably profitable. Gems were super, super, super profitable for me in Dragonflight, and so that's kind of the route that I'm going from the get-go. And kind of what my plan is going to be is I'm going to start kind of banking up knowledge points. I'm not going to, I'll probably spend some if I can find any evidence of gems that are kind of consistently being top sellers. But worst case scenario, I'll just kind of hold on to my knowledge points and wait until like season 1 starts, and maybe like a week into season 1, and see just the sell rates of the different gems and what's going to be profitable. So that might be one option to go. Another option, like I mentioned earlier, you can do some research on Wowhead, see what classes are being or what players are being recommended for gems for their classes, and kind of make some decisions based off of that. It might not be a bad idea to get like these secondary nodes maxed out before you work on like the gem specific nodes, just so that you can get some additional gems for those additional knowledge points. And then, probably start crafting rank 2s and go from there. But yeah, I think gem crafting is going to be a very beneficial thing to do in War Within. And I hope, we all make some crazy buku bucks off of gem cutting. Now, I do want to kind of touch on jewelry crafting. This is not something that I've ever really been involved with. I do know that at the beginning of expansions in particular, or beginning of seasons, gear crafting can be unbelievably lucrative. I just don't really care for the competition in trade chat of fighting with people for buyers and all of that good stuff. So if you are looking to do jewelry crafting, I think it's a great option. I think there's a lot of profit to be had with it. But you're going to just need to do some research. And I would just kind of recommend looking at things the way that I am with gem cutting. Go into simulation mode, mess around with the knowledge points, mess around with the quality of the materials that you're going to be using to craft it, and just see how it impacts your output. Ultimately, people are going to want the highest rank. So optimize to find what you need to do to get that highest rank. It's kind of important, especially starting out with the limited amount of knowledge points that everybody has. If you spend an extra knowledge point in a tree that technically you didn't need to spend, that it's not the end of the world by any means, but that knowledge point could increase profit on something else if that knowledge point was spent somewhere else. So I think it's definitely worth just taking the time to kind of look things through. Don't just immediately start speccing into stuff and just maxing out trees without really seeing what you're doing. So next we're going to look at shaping. So obviously with shaping we have glasswork. So this is going to be like particularly for the gilded vials. So probably once I finish off my gem cutting tree, I will start going into shaping. Although I'm probably going to have two jewel crafters, and I have my one jewel gem cutter, and my second jewel crafter will just immediately start working on the shaping tree. And then gem finding is also super important, especially for prospecting. So you can spec into gem finding and then each sub spec and increase the amount of or the chance of gems. Finding gems when you go through prospecting, and I think there's going to be a solid prospecting shuffle available with that, or not even necessarily shuffle, but just prospecting the gems that you use to eventually craft. Again, if you're familiar with my content from Dragonflight, I always say this term: craft the crafting materials you need to craft. And I think prospecting is kind of like that initial thing. You go through, you prospect to get all the materials, and that kind of sets you up for all the different crafting that you're gonna be doing. So we've looked at gems. Profession equipment has been decent. I actually right now looking at it, nothing is showing as profitable. It's possible that it will become profitable again. I think right now, especially, it's kind of tough because a lot of people are leveling up their professions, and probably most of them aren't really like leveling their professions for gold making specifically. They're just wanting to get their professions leveled up so that they can, work on their character, that kind of thing. But as a byproduct of that, the auction house is just being flooded with a whole bunch of random shit. Like everybody's getting those first time craft bonuses, and so all these profession tools are getting thrown up. So it is possible over the coming weeks, we start to see a fewer amount of all of these different items posted, and so profitability becomes, possible again. So it's just another thing to kind of keep an eye on, go through, try to on a regular basis, check the prices, do an auction house scan. So if you are using CraftSim, what I would recommend is going into the settings, click the price source to be auctionator, and then you can do an auctionator scan of the auction house, and then you can just click on every single item, and it'll just tell you if it's profitable based off of basically the lowest rank bats. So really, looking at all the crafts that I don't currently have learned, we have the rare quality of profession tools. Those will obviously be very, very profitable for crafters that decide to go this route, especially if you can be one of the first people offering like rank 5 rare profession tools. There's going to definitely be some profit in there for you. We've got PvP gear, or PvP gems, and then PvP gear. Another thing that I'm sure is super profitable. I mean, look at this right now. It's saying it's massively profitable. So definitely an option. And also like PvP gear, I'd have to look into this a little bit closer, but with PvP gear like last season, I didn't even have to spec into like jewelry crafting to be able to rank 5 craft like the PvP ring and necklace. So that's probably an option for anybody, regardless of the knowledge point spec you're going. And then obviously there's a lot of jewelry that I haven't learned. We've got the Blasphemite. So this is going to be one-time gems. So if you remember in Dragonflight, everybody had those epic gems that you could use, but you could only have one of them at a time. This is going to be the exact same system. So these gems, are they going to be profitable? Fuck yeah, they're going to be profitable. And I definitely do plan on doing these gems. But just a thing to keep in mind is, because only one character, or every character can only have one of these gems at any given time, the demand for these gems is going to be smaller than, like these normal ass rare quality gems. So they're like, again, yeah, definitely profitable, definitely worth crafting. For me personally, I'm not targeting these specifically, trying to get to these unlocked as quick as possible, or at least to be able to rank 3 craft these as quick as possible. But when I get them, I'll absolutely sell them. And it looks like they're just unlocked through dungeons. So sounds pretty easy, if you ask me. We've got some different finishing reagents, which we looked at just in the gem cutting. So it's a good way to make some additional profit. I think these finishing reagents are going to be a lot more relevant in War Within compared to Dragonflight. I could be wrong, but I think they will be pretty impactful, assuming the prices for them don't just completely destroy profitability for the item that you're crafting. So obviously it's going to take some time to get to that point where prices and markets start to kind of level out, but certainly some opportunity, I think, with that. And that's kind of everything that I've been doing and kind of thinking and going through with Jewelcrafting. So I'm super excited. I think there's a lot of super solid profit opportunities with Jewelcrafting. I've already made a shit ton with these inverted prisms, decorative lenses, a bit with the engraved gem cutter and marbled stone. So if you haven't looked into Jewelcrafting and gotten it started, I would definitely recommend it. Even if you're not going to just like do Jewelcrafting from the get-go, at least have a character set up and get those knowledge points on a weekly basis, or at least some of the knowledge points on a weekly basis, so that if and when you do decide to start rocking on your Jewelcrafter, you're not weeks and weeks and hundreds of knowledge points behind everybody else that's been doing it since day one. So yeah, thank you everybody for watching. I hope you found this video beneficial. I do plan on kind of running through all the different professions, crafting professions, at least that I'm going to be working with from the start of War Within. So stick around, subscribe. Those videos will be coming hopefully fairly soon. And then also I do stream on Twitch. I've been streaming a lot recently. Twitch.tv/semicolon23, but I also, when I stream on Twitch, my Twitch streams or my streams come to YouTube as well. So if you just subscribe on YouTube, maybe you'll get notified of those as well. So yeah, anyways, again, thank you everybody for watching. Much appreciated. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and happy gold making. See ya.